What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Critical Ops video. Disclosure, I do not mean any hate towards any players I may mention and any clans that I mention. Much respect. I tip my hat at you guys for what you've accomplished. This video is just to have an open discussion, and I want there to be a lot of comments about this subject. It's something that's been on my mind for literally years, and I've never talked about it publicly, so this is my chance just to get it off my chest. I want to try to talk about both sides, but you are going to see I do have a strong opinion on this one way, which will be really clear as I talk. So what we're talking about today, we're talking about clans, and we're talking about competitive play in the mobile FPS community. So to start this discussion, we need to go back in time. The first time that I was introduced to legit clans was Modern Combat 4. Back then, all of the competitive clans were over on a chatting service called Palringo. I actually was the leader of a clan at that time called RSPN. There was a lot of great clans back then, and we would scrim all the time, and there was always drama going on. So I noticed something back then, and it really bothered me back then, and it bothers me now, where the trend was, if you are a good player, you end up joining 5 clans. You end up just playing for whatever team, whatever team you want. And so a lot of my members, they wanted to play on other teams, and I would always say, no, you're either this team or not this team. I'm not going to let you play on multiple teams. I know SXC held true to that as well for the most part. Not completely, but most clans was just completely open. A player would play for 5 different teams, and they would just hop. And it always bothered me. So now we move to Critical Ops. We do see a little bit of that, not as much as MC4, but what we've seen in the Critical Ops tournaments in the esports space, if we've seen just a couple teams rise to the top, and that's no fault of their own. These are good players who've been playing since the beginning, who've trained together, who've practiced, who have taken the game very seriously, and they've dominated. So first what happened is we had King's Redemption, King's Vendetta, literally winning every tournament. When we get to the championship round, it's Kings versus Kings. And then King's Redemption decides to go make Hammer's Redemption. Gangsters come on the scenes. They pull some of the top players. That was a clan over in Vainglory. They came on the scene. Team Phoenix, a PC clan, they came over. They built a team. They took some Kings players. So then it started to get a little bit more competitive. You had maybe 3 to 5 teams that could compete for that top spot, and it started to get more exciting to watch, more exciting to cast. Well, what happened was Team Phoenix just announced that they're acquiring Hammer's Redemption, and so Smiley, Retros, and Agony are getting reunited with their former team members, and they're also taking Tempe and BAM. So basically, it's King's third version now, Phoenix, and what do you think's going to happen? Phoenix now has a roster that's like, 10 deep of the top players in the game, and they're going to win every tournament. Like, I'm saying it right now. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons. Team Phoenix is free to recruit whoever they want. Team Phoenix is very organized, and Team Phoenix is going to be the best team, so they're going to win. Why should they apologize for that? Why should they say, hey, well, what do you want us to do? Not take the best players? You don't want us to recruit? Like, they've done nothing wrong, in my opinion. So I just want to throw that out there. Team Phoenix, respect for you for what you've created. But the other side of it, from the viewer perspective, from the esports perspective, it kind of gets annoying because there's no competition. It's basically a monopoly. You have one team who's going to dominate the space. They've broken down into 2 different Phoenix teams, but basically one team that's going to dominate the space now, as it has been before, and there's just not a competition. So I tweeted a little bit earlier today. I said, in the NBA world, each team has a salary cap. They can't have an infinite spend, or else a team would say, hey, you know what? We're going to spend $1 billion this year. We're going to recruit all the top players. We're going to recruit Steph Curry, LeBron. We're going to bring in all the top players, and we're just going to win, and there's no competition. They put salary caps, so there's competition because that's more exciting to watch. So my question to you is, in the esports world, should we be putting caps on the number of players that can play on a team? Should we be putting caps on these things to create more competition? Or do we continue to let it go and say, hey, you know what? That's the way it is. It's the responsibility of other players to organize teams to be able to build up a team good enough to compete with Phoenix. I don't know exactly what it is because I can feel for both sides, but I do say, my opinion is, it is a little bit frustrating when we just see the same team continually winning all the time. Like, it becomes boring, and then the whole idea of esports is like, well, what's the point? There's a team stacked who was already stacked to begin with. Now they're even more stacked, and they've got every best player on the team, and everybody wants to play for the best team. Like that's the difficulty that I'm having here. So, there'll still be some exciting gameplay against the other teams, but amongst that top crown that everybody's looking for, it's going to be one team. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's wrong. I don't know if it's fair to break it up. It's probably not fair to break it up. I don't know what the answer is or what the idea is. The only idea I have is capping the number of players that can be in one clan and not allowing people to clan hop. But that brings on other issues. The other issues are it's really easy to switch your name. And these are you're not playing on a field that people can look at your face and say, dude, that's not Steph Curry, man. That dude don't look like Steph Curry. Here in Critical Ops, it's just a username, so it's really easy to give your login and password to somebody else and play as you. And I've already noticed that playing where you see a team in one round sucks, and all of a sudden they're amazing. You're just like, who's playing this dude's account? So that goes on in the background. There's just issues with it, and I just want to kind of get this off my chest and say, what's the answer? Am I making something out of nothing? Is this even a problem? I want to hear from both sides. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Appreciate you listening. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.